So, this section we are going to deal with multi-step equations. So it's going to take more than one step in order to solve for the variable. So let's move this down a little bit. The question I always ask is, what is happening to the variable? So in this case, two things are happening. We have something multiplying. 3 is multiplying the variable. And then we also have 7 being added to the variable. So typically we think, hey, we have to use the orders of operations. But that's actually the opposite. What we'll do is we will do the inverse of order of operations. So if we have grouping symbols, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction, this is typically first, second, third, and fourth. Well, we're going to go in reverse order. The inverse would go from here, first to last. So we're going to do addition and subtraction first. So how do we get rid of 7 being added? The inverse of adding 7 is subtracting 7. So that would leave me with 3t, because the 7 and negative 7 cancel. And then negative 8 and negative 7 makes negative 15. Now we only have what's happening to the variable. It's being multiplied by 3. Inverse of multiplication is division. So we will divide by 3, divide by 3. That leaves us with t equals negative 5. Good? Let's try another one. What if we have the variable on the right side? So my advice again is that you keep this equal sign. I can flip it. I can write 16 plus 8n equals 8. I'm okay with that, right? So all I did was move the left side to the right side. I moved the left side to the right side. Forgot the equal sign. And then I took the right side and I moved that to the left side. Now I also like to see the variable come first. So if we're going to flip these two on the left side, I'm going to write 8n plus 16 equals 8. So I just rewrote this equation. That's an equivalent equation. This is super. We can totally do that. There are mathematical properties that allowed us to do that. And now when I look at 8n plus 16 equals 8, I ask what's happening? Well, there's two things happening to the variable. 8 is being multiplied and 16 is being added. What do we get rid of first? Addition and subtraction. Good. Now we have 8n equals negative 8. What's happening to the variable? It's being multiplied by 8. So we will divide by 8. N equals negative 1. Negative 8 divided by positive 8 gives us negative 1. What I'd like you to do right now is try this one. Pause the video, show your work, make sure that you are writing the same steps that I am writing. Your work should look identical to mine. When you're ready, you may pause it, and then when you're ready, hit play. So in this one, we're going to subtract 27. We get 9x equals negative 99. We're going to divide both sides by 9, and we get x equals negative 11. Your work should look exactly like mine. Now, here's a two-step equation. Let's talk about what's happening to the variable. So 5 is dividing the variable, and 6 is being subtracted from. So we want to get rid of things being added or subtracted. So what's going to get rid of 6 subtracting is 6 adding to it. Those cancel. We're left with y over 5 equals 14. What's happening to the variable? 5 is dividing it. Inverse of dividing 5 is multiplying 5. We're left with y equals, I'm going to take out my calculator, 14 times 5 gives me 70. Don't be afraid to use your calculator. Your work, again, should look identical to my work when you look at your notes. So you try this one, see how you do with it. When you're ready, pause it, and then once you have your answer, unpause it. So we have -7 dividing the variable and 8 being subtracted. We're going to get rid of addition and subtraction first. We get f over -7 equals 10. How do we get rid of 7 dividing? -7 dividing is we multiply by -7. That leaves us with f equals -70. We're going to multiply both sides by -7. All right, here is the special. The special case. There's always going to be situations that we have to be wary of. What's different about this? Well, what's different about this is this vinculum, that division bar. So we need to know what that means. That means this is separated from the denominator. When we see that statement, when we see n minus 2 over 7, we need to understand that that's the quantity of n minus 2 divided by 7. That 7 is underneath the n and the -2. So we can't just, we can't get rid of that. Here's another way. Not only can we write it this way, here's another good idea that you need to understand. This is advanced high school, that this also equals n over 7 minus 2/7. Again, this 7 is underneath the n. The 7 is dividing the n, and it's dividing the -2. So we can separate the n and the -2, and we can write it like that. So that really shows how they are separated. So in this case, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. In this case, what we want to do when there's a vinculum, we can't get to this -2. We can't add 2 just yet because there's a parentheses. Not there, sorry. There's a parentheses. Chewbacca arms right here. So we can't get to that -2. We have to get rid of that division first. So in these problems, we have to get rid of the dividing by 7. How do we get rid of dividing by 7? By multiplying by 7. So if we multiply both sides by 7, these cancel. 7 in the numerator, 7 in the denominator. You're left with n minus 2 equals 14. What's nice about this is now we can get to that -2. Now we've gotten rid of those parentheses. Once we get rid of that -7, then you have the parentheses are gone. Okay? So that's a good little understanding. Now we have a variable. What's happening to it? 2 is being subtracted. So we do the inverse of subtracting, which is addition. And we get 16. Don't be afraid to check your work. See if it works. N minus 2 over 7 equals 2. So if we plug in 16 in for the variable, we just said that n equals 16. So let's plug in 16 for n and simplify that left side. 16 minus 2 is 14. 14 over 7 equals 2. Does the left side equal the right side? Yep. Then we know our answer is correct. We know that this is the solution. If we didn't get the left side equaling the right side, then we would know that that isn't the solution. We'd have to go back to our work and check it. Let's look at this one. Again, we have a vinculum. So when we have a vinculum, we can't get to that -5 just yet. We can't add 5. We have to get rid of the dividing of 6 dividing the variable. So we want to get rid of 6 dividing by 6, so the inverse is multiplying by 6. That gives me -66 equals a minus 5. Then we're going to add 5, add 5. That gives me -61 equals a. Take a moment. You try this. When you're ready, unpause the video. Okay, so we see the vinculum. We have to get rid of the -2 in the denominator, multiplying by -2 in the numerator. That gives me -28 equals 6 plus z. I'm going to get rid of, I can rewrite that. I don't mind rewriting it like this. Then I can subtract 6. That gives me -34 equals z. All right. That's pretty much all the problems that you're going to see. Definitely make sure that you can do any of these problems. You can look at these. These are good ones to try also, to practice. That involves a little bit of fractions, which shouldn't make it that much harder. And then you can also try these, which have decimals in them. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.